Greetings fellow gamers, and welcome to a new video showcasing 10 upcoming Souls-like games you probably haven't heard of, expected to release sometime in 2026 or later. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Prepare to square off against hellish beasts in Riven Crown, an action-packed Souls-like game with an interesting combat system. Brandish the blade of a warrior who, following his death, awakens in a higher dimension where four ancient civilizations vie for supremacy under the iron rule of their corrupted kings and queens, whose existence has been twisted by way of divine communion. Riven Crown blends traditional Souls combat with the more over-the-top battle systems of fighting games in order to create an exhilarating mix that is as bombastic as it is tactical. Classic attacking, blocking, and dodge rolling aside, you'll be able to fill up a super meter as you fight, which you'll then consume in order to unleash devastating combo sequences upon your foes. You'll also have two different kick actions at your disposal, a light one meant to break enemy blocks, as well as a heavy one that can send them staggering upon environmental hazards. In addition, you'll get the chance to save prisoners as you travel across the world, whom you'll then be able to summon as allies during your skirmishes. Combat is further enhanced by an in-depth equipment system, with each weapon and armor piece featuring a mastery level that, if achieved, will yield permanent unique abilities that will allow you to personalize your fighting style. Riven Crown is expected to come out sometime during the fourth quarter of 2026 and has been confirmed for PC.
Be careful.
The story of Alice in Wonderland has been a source of inspiration for many reimaginings, most of them of the dark variety, and that is also the case for Project Rabbit, an extraction Souls-like title. The story transpires in a world that came to be after numerous continents from different dimensions fused together following the collapse of the power that held them apart. This violent amalgamation also gave birth to the Abyss of Time, a dark realm hiding between the dimensional cracks of existence, where madness reigns supreme. You are Alice, a brave warrior who must venture into the abyss and claim valuable treasure and resources to bring back to the last bastion of civilization, all the while fighting against ageless beings consumed by insanity. Survive and escape, and you get to keep your loot. Perish, and everything you worked for is lost with you. Thankfully, you don't have to carry the burden alone, since the game's online co-op function allows you to raid the dark world alongside two other players. Interestingly enough, Project Rabbit is said to be connected to a successful Webtoon IP, though which exact Webtoon that is remains unknown as of now. Project Rabbit is expected to release sometime in 2026 and has been confirmed for PC. It's no secret that India has a truly impressive mythology as well as some of the most majestic vistas across the world, so it's incredibly promising that Unleash the Avatar is basing its setting and lore on the country. Take on the role of Vikram, a man whose hometown of Vishkapur is suddenly overrun by schemers, demons, and mutated creatures, forcing him to investigate in order to uncover the reason behind their appearance. Fortunately for him, he has the power of Garuda by his side, a mythical deity that adds an increasing number of weapons to his arsenal, including a powerful sword and a bladed chakram, with each armament having its own set of combos, special abilities, as well as brutal executions. Combat is quite flashy and cinematic, with each bout against the game's enemies featuring impressive choreography as you weave attacks together in a dance of slashes and dodges, with the pinnacle of these fights being none other than the imposing bosses you'll have to overcome. I have to say, I'm absolutely loving the game's vibe, whose witty protagonist and exotic landscapes kind of bring the Uncharted series to mind if said series was a Souls-like. Unleash the Avatar is expected to come out sometime in the fall of 2026 and has been confirmed for PC, with PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions being currently considered by the developers. If you ever wanted to play as a ripped rabbit that loves to bathe in the blood of his enemies, then Bloodfang is the game for you. The story transpires in an ancient war-torn land ruled by anthropomorphic beasts, where negative emotions are fuel for your destructive power. That's not just a dramatic statement, but the actual mentality behind Bloodfang's combat structure. More specifically, Thalios, our long-eared protagonist, will be able to harness strength from bad emotions like rage, sorrow, and fear in order to enhance his battle capabilities by gaining temporary boosts or unleashing powerful attacks. Each emotion will have a different way of building up, with an example being the increase of your rage by receiving damage. Of special note is the title's inclusion of a dismemberment system, which will have enemy limbs flying around as you hack and slash at them in brutal fashion, something I always consider a huge plus in an action game. Bloodfang has no release date as of yet, but has been confirmed for PC. If there's one thing more terrifying than the horrors lurking in the darkness of the deep sea, that's a Souls-like game that takes place predominantly underwater and forces you to face those horrors in brutal combat. As a man in an old diving suit, HALOCLINE will have you traveling across windswept shores and forgotten shipwrecks before forcing you to descend beneath the waves in order to traverse the increasingly horrifying watery abyss extending below them with only a lantern as your guide. From undead sailors and corrupted marine life all the way to eldritch abyssal horrors, the bowels of the ocean are as hostile as they are enigmatic, and you'll have to make use of an array of maritime weapons and tools as well as several defensive maneuvers such as dodging, blocking, and parrying in order to have a chance of survival. As a huge fan of underwater horror, HALOCLINE speaks to me on a very deep level, no pun intended, making it a personal day one purchase. HALOCLINE has no release date as of yet, but has been confirmed for PC. Have you ever thought what Dark Souls would be like as a first-person game? Well, wonder no more, because Necrofane is here to give you the answer. Prepare to traverse a cursed land plagued by legions of abominations summoned by an evil necromancer as you fight tooth and nail in order to become strong enough to challenge him and end his reign of terror. To that end, you'll gain levels as you take down increasingly powerful foes, which will then allow you to improve your stats and customize your combat style. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of Necrofane is its persistent world. The NPCs populating the setting don't just stand there waiting for you to get to them, but live their own lives and shape their own opinions about you depending on your actions. Swearing allegiance to an order of knights will unlock special questlines, weapons, and forbidden knowledge, but walking away from the order comes with dire consequences. Promise to help someone complete a dangerous task and then forget about them, and they'll try to do it on their own, which may result in their death. Add to that a wonderful retro art style inspired by the PSX era, an eerily haunting soundtrack that will accompany your every step, as well as the option to play the game in the company of up to 3 other players, and Necrofane is shaping up to become something truly special. There's actually a demo of the game currently available on Steam, so do give it a go if it speaks to you. Necrofane is expected to come out sometime in 2027 and has been confirmed for PC, with console ports being unlikely at the moment given that the Kickstarter stretch goal was not met. Do you remember Severance's Blade of Darkness from back in 2001? Do you have fond memories playing that game and having your mind absolutely blown away the moment you realized you could actually dismember enemies, which was absolutely novel for the time? Well, get ready to be taken back to the past, because Crowned in Steel is aiming to bring back that same feeling of intense brutality, and it looks on point. Combat here is meant to be weighty and deliberate, where tactical thinking is rewarded and mindless button mashing leads to an early grave. Enemies are not just daft meat suits for you to mutilate, but actually adapt to your playstyle, thus constantly keeping you on your toes and requiring quick shifts in strategy to emerge victorious. This is the second game on this list with a demo available, so have at it. Crowned in Steel has no release date as of yet, but has been confirmed for PC. I mean, let's face it, I don't think there's anyone watching this video who is unfamiliar with Wolong 2 Wings of Ember, the sequel to the very well received Wolong Fallen Dynasty, but I had to include it for posterity, so here we are. Taking place during the Three Kingdoms period in China, the sequel will have you playing as a new unnamed warrior who must fight through legions of enemies, human and demon alike, in order to end the brutal conflict that is waged between three factions in the hopes of finding the elixir of immortality. As with the first game, you can expect stylish battles that are fully influenced by offensive and defensive Chinese martial arts, as well as powerful demonic bosses that will test your fighting mettle to its limits. Wolong 2 Wings of Ember is expected to come out sometime during the first quarter of 2027 and has been confirmed for PC, PS5, Nintendo Switch 2, as well as the Xbox Series X and Series S.
Into the dark, I fall. My vengeance will spread.
There's nothing more dreaded than a vengeful warrior with nothing left to lose, and it is vengeance that you seek in VANRAN, a dark fantasy Souls-like that draws partial inspiration from the masterpiece that is Shadow of the Colossus. Step into the weathered boots of Caleb, a man betrayed by his own comrades and thrown down a deep pit. Now trapped in the bowels of the demon realm, with an iron helmet bound in the flesh of his head, Caleb will have to navigate trap-infested dungeons and face off against ungodly monstrosities as he carves his way back to those that stabbed him in the back. Tactical combat and bleak setting aside, what stands out about VANRAN is the existence of the Govu, large demonic abominations you'll have to take down, with the fights against them being reminiscent of the ordeals against the giants of Shadow of the Colossus, since you'll have to find ways to mount them before stabbing at their weak spots, effectively making your clashes against them a bloody spectacle. VANRAN's demo is currently available on Steam, so you know what to do. VANRAN is expected to come out sometime during the last quarter of 2026 and has been confirmed for PC, PS5 as well as Xbox.
Have you ever tried fighting an 8th spawn? Slow, shambling, dumb as rocks? Easy, right?
Before we get to the last Souls-like on this list, let's look at 3 honorable mentions that are not Souls-likes per se, but which I think you'll enjoy if you're a fan of the genre. The first one's Forsaken Realms Vahrin's Call, which I suppose you could say is a Gothic-like. The Vale of Vahrin has been overrun by a race of insect-like creatures known as the Kryax, and if that wasn't enough, an enigmatic dark force is brewing beneath the world's surface. With Vahrin's king lying dead and thousands of soldiers having perished in their fight against the Kryax, the realm has been plunged into chaos, and it is up to you, an unnamed mercenary, to venture across the war-torn land in search of spoils and contracts. Here you can expect a sprawling, handcrafted setting full of secrets, puzzles, and intricate questlines that span continents, as well as an in-depth combat system of the melee, ranged, and arcane variety. Your approach to battle is fully customizable through the existence of numerous weapons, armor pieces, potions, spells, and traps, effectively allowing you to develop your ideal playstyle. If you enjoyed the Gothic series, then this is one to keep an eye out on. Forsaken Realms Vahrin's Call is expected to come out on the 27th of July 2026 for PC, with consoles also being expected at some point in the future.
Only gets worse.
Our second honorable mention is Chains of Lukomorye, a third-person shooter inspired by Slavic folklore. The game transpires in an alternate timeline where, following the end of the First World War, experiments carried out by the Allied forces shattered reality and caused a realm populated by fantastical creatures to blend with our own. You take on the weapon of a soldier grieving the loss of his wife, who, alongside an odd entity called Sirin, embarks on a mission to reach the mythical underworld Lukomorye in order to save the soul of his beloved. Your journey will bring you across various creatures of Slavic myths and legends, some of which will offer assistance, like the Baba Yaga and Kot Bayun, while others will try to take you down, such as Leshy and Nightingale the Robber. Combat here is predominantly ranged, adopting an over-the-shoulder camera angle and featuring some thrilling quick-time events. Character upgrades come in the form of lost relics you can discover, which unlock new permanent abilities and temporary boons, while also offering story story insights that enrich the narrative. Chains of Lukomorye has no release date as of yet, but has been confirmed for PC, PS5, Nintendo Switch, as well as the Xbox Series X and Series S, though information on the console ports is a bit unreliable at the moment.
And names not spoken in years.
I'll face whoever it takes. They won't stop me.
Our third honorable mention is Clash, Heroes of Feralia Terra, a brutal action RPG that feels like a fusion of Devil May Cry, Darksiders, and Dark Souls. Set in a world populated by anthropomorphic beasts, Clash is all about visceral combat against overwhelming odds by harnessing the primal abilities tied to your animal lineage. Battles are stylish and frenetic, allowing you to perform elaborate attack chains where you weave melee and ranged hits alongside gadgets and special abilities in order to wreak havoc upon your enemies. If you're interested in trying this out, there's a playtest currently available through Steam, so go request access and have fun. Clash Heroes of Feralia Terra has no release date as of yet, but has been confirmed for PC.
Yet there is still a semblance of law.
Coming back to our Souls-like list, our last game is Guns of Eschaton, the self-proclaimed first Souls-like FPS, though to be fair, I'd say that title goes to Frog Monster, even if that's a Soulsvania. The American Wild West has been transformed into an apocalyptic hellscape where occultism runs deep and monsters roam free. You are a lone rider, fragile, outmatched, and on his way home in order to salvage what is left of your life. The road is paved with all manner of ghoulish creatures, and you'll have to make each bullet count if you want to reach your destination in one piece. This is not a traditional first-person shooter. You can't just fill your enemies up with lead and move on to the next fight. Every foe has a weakness, so you need to study them carefully, choose your ammo accordingly, and aim true. Your offensive arsenal is further complemented by mystic abilities at your disposal, as well as several pieces of equipment that provide different advantages depending on how you wish to approach battle. Your defensive capabilities include the dash and parry move, rounding up your tactical options when it comes to the skirmishes you'll engage in. It should be noted that this is the last game of Viktor Antonov, the creative mind behind the worlds of Half-Life 2 and Dishonored, among others, so you can expect some top-notch world building here. Guns of Eschaton is expected to come out sometime in 2026 and has been confirmed for PC, PS5, as well as the Xbox Series X and Series S.
We'll do it again. And again.
What did you think of these games? Did you already know about them? Are you planning to try any of them out? Let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'd also appreciate it if you could like, share and hype it, since it helps with its visibility. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you wish to find more new games, I have a ton more videos in this series on my channel, so go watch those as well. On a last note, if you got any sort of value out of this video, please consider buying me a coffee at my coffee page, the link for which you can find in the video description. Until next time, Soulsborne Seeker out.